Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown, Kentucky postgame show. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Lyle. I'm joined here today to break down the postgame of Kentucky, South Carolina butt whooping. For those who don't know, I'm the host of Big Blue Breakdown with Michael Buckeister. He will be interacting in the chat with us this evening. We're on, Mike, tell them where we're at. We're on Spotify, we're on iHeart, we're on other things that I'm not sure of. Michael posted in the show. Michael posted in the chat down there. Great game. You might be asking yourself, Matt, why aren't you wearing orange? Or why are you wearing orange? Why aren't you wearing your blue? I missed most of the game. Had a rec league basketball game. It was what it was. We lost. Heartbreaking. But I left out of that. Watched the most of the second half of the Kentucky game. And I'll be honest with you. What I saw on paper told the story. You look at, and I'll pull the stats up as we go on here. When I look at the paper and I see that we've out rebounded them offensively 21-9, when you tell me E.J. Montgomery had a double-double, when you tell me that their leading scorer was, 1 for 8, I'm going to say, hey, we won by 30. And guess what? Baby, we won by 30. 28. I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to watch a little deeper and watch the entire game tip off to end. But from what I saw, looking at the box score, recapping everything, what I saw, man, I said this the last two shows, I'm getting excited. I'm falling in love with this team every bit. Look, I got EJ out here putting up absurd numbers. I got PJ doing his thing, 20 points. I got E.J. Montgomery double-double. Let me just look at some of this stat line if I can hop back and forth. We got Reed Travis, 11 points. P.J. Washington, 20 points. Ashton Hagan giving you his typical 2 points. 3 steals. No reason to hate on that. Keldon Johnson, Tyler Hero combined for 20 points. I mean, overall, it wasn't super impressive by one person. But I think, Teray, get out of here. No, Tar Heels will not be accepted on this show. If I'm not mistaken, I think we beat you by 20. And then Louisville beat you by 20 on your home floor. Get out of here with that. This is a Kentucky team that I am excited to see develop. We went out there, got busted in the mouth by Duke, 34 points. No one needs to relive that. And here my man Gabe, absolutely double-double, coming off the bench. I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more thrilled for the kid. Now, pump the brakes. As Chris Berman said, pump the brakes. I want EJ to play good because I think he's very important to us winning a championship. But come on, EJ, I need you back that sophomore year. I need one more year of EJ or two. But this is just showing right now we're getting to the point of the season where everything's just going to kind of lump together. Not one particular, outside of the Tennessee game and probably Auburn, not one particular game is going to matter more than the other. This one was on a home court tonight, so that one mattered a little more. Mississippi State, you never want to lose. But and there's nothing that's going to happen in any of these games outside of Tennessee, outside of the SEC tournament. Nothing's going to happen that's going to make you change whatever your opinion is. If your opinion is that we're great and we're flying high, a loss Saturday to Mississippi State or even a loss tonight against South Carolina is not going to change that. You might be upset, but it's not going to directly change that. If you think that we still have work to do, if you think these players are overrated, I don't know how you can still have that mindset. But if you still think that beating South Carolina by 30 isn't going to change that. So we're getting to the point where you almost have to create the content you're thinking about. You have to create the thoughts you're dealing with, because if you're looking for something, this is kind of the dead period of the basketball season. We're getting into February. Luckily, our schedule lends itself to looking pretty good for entertainment purposes and potentially capturing a 1 seed. But it's just going to be kind of a lot. Look, we're not going undefeated. That's obvious. I mean, we've already got 3 losses. It's impossible. So you're not going to watch every game as if the world is on every tip-off or every possession. A loss somewhere is going to benefit this team. I just hope it's at Tennessee. A loss somewhere won't ruin your season. So you're going to have to you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to find ways to bide your time through February, at least these next couple of weeks, because in your mind, it's fact. I mean, we're much better than Mississippi State. We're much better than LSU. We're going to be much better than Missouri. We're much better than these teams, but you can't let your mind get into that mindset because you won't enjoy the game. And I'm telling you, don't let this be 2017. You didn't truly love and enjoy that team until you saw them crying in the locker room after a loss. Don't let that be. This team is special. Hagens, that's a special kind of defender. Hero's a special kind of shooter. P.J. Washington, laugh all you want, doubters. He's one of the top players in the country. Keldon Johnson, they even talked about it on the announcers. He gets sloppy. He goes into slumps. He's an elite talent. He's a top 10 pick without a doubt. Depending on how things go at Durham and with those three, he could find his way into a top 5 pick. But there's just going to be things on this over the next couple of weeks that you're going to have to look for excitement. And I'm afraid if you start looking in the wrong place, if you start saying, oh, well, Tyler Hero only had 11 points or Ashton Hagen only had 2 points, you're going to start creating headcanon onto why we're going to struggle. And I'm telling you, don't. Enjoy this run. Enjoy struggling. After the Kansas game, after the Florida game, I'm enjoying when we're struggling. It's almost like a movie. It's like when you go watch a comedy, something that you know is not a tragic movie, and there's that little bit of dip, there's that little struggle into the movie, you're okay with that part of the ride because you know with great fall is going to come a great rise, that this movie is going to end very well, it's going to end happy, and everybody – the same reason that I'm sure that most of us watch those Christmas movies, especially the Hallmark ones. There's a dip, there's all the world's sad, and then it's going to end extremely happy. That's the same pleasure I get out of watching this team. When I see them, I said this after the Florida game. I looked, we were down 13. And I said, oh no. So I start trying to put in my brain, okay, if at 10 minutes, if we can be down by 8, and if at 8 minutes we can be down by 6, and at this minute, and this minute, and this minute, I look up 3 minutes later, we're down 1 point. And boom, there we go. That's enjoyable. That's a different type of enjoyment than we saw in 2015 when it was 40-7 at halftime. That's the type of enjoyment that you can enjoy and feel confident that that's a sustainable income. That's a sustainable run because you're going to struggle in March. I said on Big Blue Breakdown with a guest host, Darren Rogers, he writes, he's a Kentucky writer. It was awesome having him on. I said that this team is special. This team does something that no really Cal team has done. Typically, if you look at the Cal teams, they've either struggled all season. If you take out 12, who was good all season and lost and won the championship, and you took out 13, who was bad all season and didn't do anything, either Cal has two types of teams who struggle in the season, get on a hot streak come March, and then when you get in the Final Four, they fizzle out. They don't know how to continue that hot streak. Or you have the exact opposite. You have their hot off season, 2010, 2015, and then they get to March, and they don't know how to handle adversity. This is a weird team. This is a team that in the small, in the fact of 3 months, in 22 games now, I believe it's 22 at this point, in 22 games, they've got beaten by a championship contender by 30. They've lost two heartbreakers. They lost a heartbreaker. They lost by 2 on a game that they really should have lost by 12. They've won. They've went on the road. They've blown a 17-point lead. They've come back from a 10-point deficit twice. They've trailed at halftime. They've been up at halftime. They've came out the gate slow. They went into the half slow. They've played every way imaginable. They've almost lost every way imaginable. I think that's going to play dividends when March rolls around. I want to get to the chat here. Gabe contributing as always. Thank you for your support, Gabe. So it wasn't flashy, but I felt like it was productive. I mean, we won by 30. And I look at those numbers. I was kind of shocked when I looked at the numbers. Nobody was super impressive. I mean, EJ, he's kind of playing with house money. But to win by 30. That means we're starting to win the things. We're starting to do the things that doesn't show up on paper. We're winning the battles. We're winning the battles, and we're contributing in ways that when I look at this sheet, it's not going to show up. Contested shots isn't going to show up on ESPN's report. Sorry, guys. Double teams, traps, forced air balls, forced bad rebounds, good blockouts. None of these things aren't going to show up, but that's the only thing I can – when you win by 30, either that stat sheet is stuffed. You got a 30-point performer with another 25-point performer, or you're doing the little things. And I'll be honest with you, doing the little things is like having a run game or a strong defense in football. At the end of the day, when it's raining, when hell's frozen over, when there's a foot of snow, the simple things will get it done. I'm glad to see we're there. And I think that's where we talked about this in the first episode. Reed Travis had been kind of surpassed by everybody else's talent. I think this is going to be his claim to fame. He's going to be the guy who does the little things right because he's been here. He's done that. Yeah, I don't want to hear about North Carolina. Baker, look, I'll be at the point. At this point, at this time in the season, anything Baker gives me, I've said this all season, anything Baker gives me is plus. It's no pun intended, whatever you want to say, it's a Baker's dozen. A Baker's dozen, 13, 12, you add in a different addition. We have a great roster without him. He just makes it better. We can win a game with him doing absolutely nothing. But when he comes in there and does little things, look at his stat line against Florida. Kid didn't do much. 2 points, 2 rebounds, maybe 2 assists. Played a huge role in that game. Yeah, Gabe, you're getting to the point, once you're Kentucky, perfect games really go out of the window by December. By the time we get to Louisville, which Louisville's typically that game before you get into SEC play, by the time you get to Louisville, if you expect a perfect game, I'm not saying it can't happen, but if you expect it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Perfect games happen on the Champions Classic, where we've been training for that. I mean, not this one, of course, but if you go back and look at some of those other ones, we've played darn good. Perfect games are meant when Illinois State comes to Rupp Arena. Perfect games are meant when we're meeting someone somewhere to play an ex-Kentucky player turned new small school coach. Once that Louisville game hits, because it's a dirty game. Even when we've won by 30 the last 2 years, not been perfect. And once you get into conference play where everyone hates your guts, where they just want to see SEC fall, it's kind of done. I mean, so a win is a win. Patriots won the Super Bowl. Patriots fan, yes. Number 6, take it, haters. That game wasn't perfect. Got it done. In 10 years, when you look at that list, you're not going to say perfect. That Tom Brady played perfect. They played awful. I mean, they played decent. I won't say awful. When they look at it kind of stinks that some of the championships got away because Kentucky, the 12 team was as close to perfect as you're about to get, other than the 15 team. Imagine that 14 team, if that 14 team had been able to get the job done. But that was nowhere by far a perfect season. I don't know if we ever played a perfect game in 2014. I mean, even when we were playing at all fire, 100% rolling, we were letting things slip. We would get a 10-point lead and then we'd be down by 6. We'd get a 2-point lead and we'd be down by 10. We never played perfect. So we just got to prove, and this is the type of team that can prove. Ryan, get out here, Semi-Pro. Well, Semi-Pro is going to have its own show later on. If you're part of Semi-Pro, check it out. If not, this is Kentucky. This is Kentucky. Football season is actually not going anywhere. Not to get on a side tangent, I am supporting every way possible this AAF thing. Comes on Saturday night, 8 o'clock, CBS. Check it out. I'm going to tie this in, seriously. It's going to be a lot of players. It's going to be a lot of players who didn't quite pan out for them in the NFL. So if you're a college fan, Kentucky fans, you're going to see Kentucky players, Kentucky wide receivers, Kentucky linemen, Kentucky defensive guys that didn't pan out in the pros. Whether they just weren't good enough, whether they just didn't get in the right situation, they're going to get a shot. So you're going to see Kentucky guys you forgot about pop up and get a shot in this. And even better, this thing lasts till May. We are this close to having important football or legitimate football 12 months a year. I'm excited. Hey, Gabe, look, I said this, I think it was on the Florida post game. All we heard coming out of Bahamas, especially after the Duke debacle, all we heard was who's going to carry. Who's that guy that's going to get it done? When you're losing, when you're down 3, who needs a shot? Doesn't matter now, because this team is selfless enough and self-aware enough with the right leaders in place that can be identified. So Tyler Hero, if the man's gone for the Florida game, he had gone for 11 in the first half, or maybe it's 10, got into some foul trouble, come back out, made a nice play. They said, hey, here this man is in the corner. Swish, 3. You got PJ going for 28, and you know they can't stop him down low? If I need a basket, where am I going? This reminds me, if it had an NFL if it had an NBA comparison, I would say that 2004 Pistons team that had big shot Chauncey Billups. It had Rip Hamilton. It had just Tayshaun Prince, Kentucky guy. It had Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace. This reminds me of that. A gritty, passionate point guard, the legitimate scorers at the 2 and the 3, and big behemoths down low. Except this team, that team had a pretty good bench with Lindsey Hunter and some of those guys. So this would probably be a good comparison. They got it done. They beat the original super team that had Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone in the glove. This can do that. And ironically, we need to beat a team that has 4 stars on it to get this done. So yes, I see here, and I don't know if that's what you meant. I hope it was about the different players who carry the team, because it's a case-by-case basis. You can't come in. I tried this with the Florida game. I said Tyler Hero is going to have 30. You can't do that. Cal can't do that. When the ball tips, Cal can say, okay, let's start feeding this guy. But if they double team him, or if they stop the kick out, or if they stop him from getting any work done, you got to instantly go to somebody else. And that's what I love about this team. That's why, going back earlier, I love the fact that Baker's our 9th guy. I mean, I could see there's not a player on this team other than Nick Richards, but on offense, and I'm going to finish this as a dig against Richards. There's not a player on this offense other than maybe Nick Richards that I couldn't see hitting a big-time shot. Is it a buzzer beater? I don't know. But final minute, down 1 point, I'm trusting Hagan's getting to the point. Maybe not at 3, but if he needs a point. I'm definitely trusting Hero. I'm definitely trusting Johnson. I'm trusting PJ and Reed to go up, get a basket. If they don't get it, get their own rebound, get another basket, get a foul, hit the free throws. I trust Quickly. I even trust EJ, especially if we got him in any kind of rhythm. I trust Baker to an extent. I don't know if Baker would be in there, but if he had to be, I trust him. I don't trust Nick making that play, but I trust Nick making the play on the other end. Some of this chat here. XFL starts next year. Look, I got to see something by XFL. It was a sham. You already have a guy who's proven. Look, the XFL, you've already had a guy and an owner in Vince McMahon that's proven that he will do anything for the bottom dollar, even if it means running a fake show, which nothing against wrestling. That's what it is. It's a show. And what's going to make football thrive? Any league other than NFL, what's going to make it thrive is the ability to gamble on it. Let's be honest. The ability to go in. The only thing that's going to make you care, because there's not going to be a fantasy, at least right away, the only thing that's going to make you care about the Orlando Commanders taking on the San Diego Fleet is I got money on this. I don't see anybody putting money on the XFL knowing the history of its owner. You put money on that, you might be in Duke. Now, obviously, you can say any NBA, NFL, it's all rigged, but you're kind of in the minority saying that. Anything Vince McMahon's run has kind of a history of having some concerns. So looking in here, absolutely. Gabe, does Camp Cal help the team click together? I do. I mean, at this point, Cal has his system. Cal knows what works. the system around Cal is changing. The system around Cal is, yes, I said wrestling. The system around Cal may be changing, whether it be the one and dones, whether it be Duke getting on the one and done train, whether it be Kansas, whether it be other teams stepping up and taking the likes of Michael Porter or Ben Simmons, whether it be things like that. Yes, but Cal has his own stationary thing. And one thing, I call it the football month. We play on Saturdays. This year it was, who was it? It was like UNC Greensboro, Utah, Seton Hall, Utah, Louisville, Bama. We only played on Saturdays for 5 straight weeks. It was rough, but I think them guys, because there's only so much you can teach in practice. There's only so much you can teach without actually having a game. So you can scream till you the cows come home about we can't let this team do this, but if you're not playing real games, it doesn't really matter. So then you get to play a couple games, and then you really get to just kind of, like I said, I think when I see Camp Cal, I think football. I think you practice Monday, you practice Tuesday, you practice Wednesday, you practice Thursday, you prep Friday, and you play on Sunday, and you grow. And I said it earlier, I have 3 requirements every season. Don't lose at Rupp. Don't lose to Louisville. Don't lose in March. All 3 of those can be achieved in Camp Cal. He did it this year. So I'm looking next Saturday. We got Mississippi State. Hey, also, as you're watching this, feel free to put in here. Saturdays is an iffy one. You know, the Vanderbilt game and the game tonight, I feel like we're getting good support because it's 10:30. It's 10:30 on a Tuesday. It's 10:30 on a Tuesday. You're getting ready to go to bed. Maybe you put the kids to bed. Maybe you just put up dinner. You finish watching the news. Whatever you did. Saturday, the game Saturday is at 1 o'clock. I don't really know how well a show, if I came on here and did a show, even though I'd be very passionate about it, at 3 o'clock, considering 3 o'clock on a Saturday, supposed to be sunny, supposed to be cold, you might be out doing stuff. So we'll probably run a little late on Saturday, but we got a game Saturday, Mississippi State. Mississippi State's one of those teams, I don't think they're ranked anymore. They were ranked in the season. Those happen a dime or a dozen. You can't take them lightly, but I don't think this team will, because this team was more likely to take them lightly at Rupp than take them lightly in Starkville. This team, from everything I get, loves to go into your crowd and he loves to go. They love to go in there. Tyler Hero loves to hit the shot that takes it from 1,000 decimals down to 0. Tyler Hero loves to hit the shot that you think. I don't know, Gabe. What do you mean? We'll get back to that. Tyler Hero likes to hit the shot that makes you think you stand a chance and it's over. How do you feel about projected? Hey, I gave up on the 1 seed. I did. 3 losses right before conference play. I'd given up on the 1 seed. I'd given up on going through Louisville. It's back. It is back. If we lose at Tennessee, if we win out but lose at Tennessee, that's probably your best bet. I feel like that is your best bet, because that loss kind of punch in the face right before March. You don't want to lose in March. That's a loss mid-February. Oh crap, we're not invincible. The committee's not going to hold that against you, that you're lost at Tennessee, potentially, since they're not going to lose. Mike with a 3 seed. I want to come through Louisville. I feel like that would behoove us. And let's be honest, if we got to come through Louisville, they're not going to make Louisville the 4 seed. I don't like playing teams in the tournament that we already beat in the regular season, because you just go in. If you're the team that won, you go in with the mentality of what we did was the right thing. We can do it again. And then if you're the team that lost, you said, hey, this is how we lost. Let's prepare for that. So really, if you're the team that won, unless you're just way ahead of the curve, you're walking into a trap. So I want to play new teams, new faces. I want to have to come through Louisville. I want to be the 1 seed. If we're the 3 seed, look, you're Kentucky. There's still going to be pressure. Look at 2014, we were the 8 seed. 2011, we were the 4 seed. Missed pressure. For those who aren't aware, I think his name is Anthony Edwards, the top shooting guard in the country high school, is supposed to make an announcement on February 11th. He canceled his subscription. What am I thinking? He canceled his visit. He canceled his visit to North Carolina. A lot of people think that's a good sign for Kentucky. If you follow the recruiting, if you're wondering what's going to be a part of this 2019-2020 team, I don't think that's a good sign for us. I don't think it's a good sign for us when these college kids, especially with teams like Cal has now, there's not an Anthony Davis on this team. There's not a John Wall on this team. Kids who are committing now, there's not a guaranteed open spot next year. Look, I don't think it's likely, but it's not impossible that Hagans, Quickly, Hero, and Baker all return next year, or at least 3. That's a pretty crowded backcourt for one of the top guards in the country coming in as a freshman. Tons of struggles ahead of him, going to have to learn. Everybody talked about, the big man. What happened here? Why are we talking Oregon? Where did we come out of nowhere? I don't know. That might be outdated. We talked about the big man who went to Washington. Look, as long as the one and done kids are going spreading everywhere, that's great for Kentucky. If the big man's not going to come to Kentucky and he goes to Washington, that's fine. Washington's not going to bother me. If a guard comes out here and says, you know what, I want to go to Maryland, who cares? I just don't want them all teaming up somewhere else where we have to go through it. But when kids are coming out and they're announcing, hey, I'm making my decision December 30th, January 10th, February 15th, that's typically not a good sign for us. Because outside of probably PJ and Keldon, there's really not any guaranteed spots that are going to open up. And even with Keldon leaving, we got the Maxey kid who's Maxey or Whitley, one of the 2 kids, which is a top 10 pick in next year's draft projected. So not really a whole – I don't know who that guy is. I think – so I want to apologize for whoever's watching. I think we have – Mike or whoever's tagging, I think we tagged the incorrect Gabe Rojas. So I apologize. Time out on the Kentucky Talk. I apologize to the new Gabe who joined us. I thought it was weird because they had 2 different pictures. So Gabe number 1, we're going to call him Main Gabe because dude's always in here chatting. Thank you for the support. He was very chatty. And then a new Gabe comes in and he's frustrated about our conversation. So Mike, I think you tagged the wrong Gabe. New Gabe, if you're still in here, sorry about it. Gabe, come back. I'm hearing Florida State or Georgia for him. That's fine with me. We might have to play him at Georgia. Florida State's not going to matter. A lot of people's getting excited. Look again, I've said this before. You can't try to get married, long-term commitment, and keep dating the girl and keep flirting with the prom queen. You can't with Miss America or whatever, because that's what we're doing. There's a chance, I don't know how big it is, there's a chance Hagans is a sophomore next year, Quickly's a sophomore, that's a better chance. A sophomore Tyler Hero. I will take any 3 of those than this freshman Edwards kid. I will take it. Now, Edwards could be great. He could be the number 1 kid in 2020 draft. I don't want to have to risk it because I know on a college level, I know what I'm getting with my sophomores or juniors, whatever Baker will be. I don't want to keep, and I think I'm actually going to say, if he goes somewhere else, I think that's a good sign. Because old Cal, when he was the one and done king, old Cal would come in and recruit Edwards and then push someone else out the door. I don't really see him doing that as much. Now, obviously, I'm not with Cal. I have no idea what he does on a daily basis. But I don't see Cal doing that anymore. And I think that's good. So, guys, don't get flustered. Don't get upset. Don't get frustrated. Don't say, oh, well, we're losing number 1 center. We're losing this kid. I mean, the kid who went to Memphis, that was what that was. We're losing the 3rd best center to Washington. If they're announcing this early, I think, A, they're just wanting to make a splash, and B, most of these kids who have been the star on the AAU, been a star at their high school, want to be a star at college. Not every kid's going to pan out here. We've seen it a lot. Florida State is one of those schools that is relevant in basketball now So due to its size, its availability of media, ACC network coming, I could see them getting a lot. I don't think they're anything new of a one and done thing. I think they're just getting in. I mean, is LSU a one and done school because they had Ben Simmons? Washington, I'd be more apt to say Washington's becoming a one and done school with the likes of Markel Fultz and if they get and the big men they got. I think everyone's seen Calipari sit down to the table with a one and done pie and started eating. Everyone else was disgusted until they realized how good that tasted. And now everyone's wanting a piece of that pie. This is a fact. Not everybody can enjoy it. Not anybody can taste from it. But everybody's in line to get it. Kevin Matthews says, we do not need him. He will be a luxury. Best case scenario. In my opinion, unless Hagens and Heroes both goes, which is likely. It is possible. I don't know about likely. It is possible. But unless Hagens and Heroes both leave, best case scenario, he'll be a luxury. Worst case scenario, could he be a cancer in the locker room? It's an awful lot of pressure to heap on a 17, 18-year-old kid. But like I said, he comes from a high school where every shot is his shot. He comes from a high school where he calls his minutes. He comes from an AAU team where everyone's there to see him. Does he come off the bench? What if he struggles? If you got a team where you got Hagens, Quickly, Hero, and this kid, and Edwards, and he struggles, a la new Quaddy Green. I want the kid to do what's best for him. And I hate to see somebody's future ruined because they picked the wrong school. And I'm not saying Kentucky's the wrong school, but I think with him picking on February 11th, I would be surprised if he picks Kentucky. Looking in here, let me go back and look at some of these numbers that we had from what jumps out at me. Obviously, E.J. Montgomery's 13 rebounds. I assume the camera stops when I go over there, so I will probably stop doing this. Mike, typically not in basketball. I'm going to touch on what Mike brought up because he's going to cover this on his own show. In football, yes, they want that big media day. Basketball really doesn't have that recruiting media circle. And basketball, one player can make a difference. If I'm a 5-star football recruit and I go to a non-football school, I go to a football school that's struggling, I might start, no matter how good they treated me, I might start to second guess that. I might start to say, man, I'm a running back and I have no offensive lineman. I'm a receiver and this team has no quarterbacks. I don't know if I want to do this. Or they go the opposite. Hey, I want to go to Bama. Everybody's going to shake their hands, and I get there and I realize I'm 55th on the depth chart. Basketball, on the other hand, if you're good, you're good. There's very little top-notch surprises in basketball. When you're a kid like this, when you're the number one shooting guard, you're probably getting the truth. When he come to Kentucky, he probably got the truth that if A happens, you're this person. If B happens, you're this person. Florida State and Georgia, I guarantee him they opened up the playbook. They pointed at the minutes log and they said, write your number in there. Basketball players typically don't decommit unless it's an Ashton Hagen situation where he's a 4-star senior or 4-star junior going to a mid-tier school and then because of a great senior season gets to go somewhere else. That's when you usually see that decommitment. It happened to Tyler Hero. It happened to Hagens. It happened to Terrence Jones a couple years ago. Typically, when the top 10 kid commits, unless something major goes down in basketball, he's going to see that through because let's just say, let's look at two scenarios here while we're discussing this because I do enjoy watching recruiting. Let's just say he goes to Kentucky and he gets stuck down at the bottom of the bench. He's miserable. He's not playing. He's struggling. His stats are just going to fall. I mean, he might go mid-first round based on potential. He goes to Florida State. Let's pretend let's just say he hates it. Let's just say they're horrible. Man's still putting up 25 points a game. He's still going to be the first pick of the draft. He's only got to be there a year. Football, you make that commitment. You're stuck there 3 years. You got to jump through hoops to transfer. You got to bend over backwards to try to not have to sit out a year. Basketball, even if you go to the worst team ever, you got to deal with it for 6 months, not even a year. Deal with it for 6 months. You get on campus in early fall. Doesn't pan out, you bounce my March. Ben Simmons did it. Got to LSU, got in trouble with school, flirted with eligibility, missed the tournament, deuces, he's out. Well, Mike, we're going to need players to return because I think the one and done pool is way too wide. I think the days of Cal, because I think Cal has a very strenuous recruiting process that he wants you to be this type of person. He wants you to expect these type of things from yourself and do this type of things for the team. Cal, I think Cal's to the point where he wants guys to return. I think at each position, we need Hagan, especially when you look at next year's recruiting class, we really need Hagans to return, or quickly, one of the two, preferably quickly, because Hagans, let's be honest, is a shutdown defender right now. At the 2 guard, we got a couple guys coming in. We got Maxey that could follow up Hagans to be a backup. If Hero left, Baker could step in that role. Then potentially that's where Edwards would come in. But we would really like Hagan or Hero to return just because I think the way he plays would be decent in the NBA, would be amazing as a sophomore in college. At the 3, we're going to have to replenish. I mean, we've already lost. We're losing Keldon, but we're bringing in Whitley. So that seems to be fine. Maybe you want to go get somebody they can put there. I know there's the kid from Kentucky. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The kid averaged like 30 points a game, had to have knee surgery. I'm sure anybody listening who's from Kentucky and follows high school basketball knows of him. We really need a big EJ. We need EJ and Nick Richards to return, because if you look at what's left in the class, not a lot of big men. Once you get past Carey and Wiseman, not a whole lot of bread left in the box. So if we can get a junior, if our team next year can be sophomore Quickly, sophomore Hero, freshman Whitley, sophomore Montgomery, junior Richards, and have Baker, Maxey, and another kid we can pick up coming off the bench, whatever we don't accomplish this year, we could do next year. Or, we got Billy Hatton in here. What is Billy Hatton doing? Yeah, Kevin, I get what you're saying, but I don't know what he wants. Obviously, I've heard nothing, but I think they want to be a star, and I think that's the thing, because I don't know what an NCAA championship does for him. I think that's why guys like Hero is making such a great splash, because he don't care about being a star. He wants to be a winner. Anthony, that's one thing that made Anthony Davis, so they call the Porzingis kid a unicorn. Anthony Davis was a true unicorn. 6 foot tall kid, turned 6'11", played on a horrible high school team, comes to college, not really used to being a star, could care less about being a star, and it's showing in his NBA. And now we're talking about Tallahassee. This is not a Tallahassee show. But yeah, I think so. Over the next couple months, it's just going to be hurry up and wait. We're going to see some struggles on the court. We're going to see some great moments on the court. We're going to see some kids that we're hoping to lose. But I think Cal's onto something. I think last year, I've said this, maybe wishful thinking, but I've said this. I think last year was Calipari's reset button. Everybody wants to say, I want to get kids that are going to stay multiple years. Cal has done this. Cal has reached in his bag and tried to get kids to stay multiple years. If you go back to the John Wall year, Eric Bledsoe was not even a top 100 recruit. Eric Bledsoe came in, balled, went pro. The next year, we got Stacey Poole Jr. Kid got antsy, wanted to be a one and done, didn't work, went to Georgia Tech. The next year, Kyle Wiltshire. Kyle Wiltshire had some issues with that, bounced to Gonzaga. Willie Cauley-Stein. Willie Cauley-Stein stayed 3 years. Never a negative word about that. Hawkins and Willis, those guys stayed multiple years. Didn't really pan out. Never actually got to capture anything with them. So Cal's had tried to keep backups. Last year, I think, was the year of him trying to rebuild in private. He went out and he got guys that was good but needed some grooming. Shea Gildress was out of this world with what we expected from him. He got away. We brought back Quade. It didn't work out. Hami probably was an experiment that didn't work as good as it should have. Knox, I think, fell in his lap, so he couldn't really pass that up. All signs pointed that Vanderbilt should have returned. I mean, and then PJ and Nick Richards did. So I think he's getting to the point where I call it the North Carolina system, where you go and you get guys that are 5-star, but a little undersized, lacking this X factor, and it gets done. I mean, look what they've done. You can hate on them all you want. I'm not a fan of them. I like making fun of them. I like seeing them, all of them, be miserable as much as the next man. But, I mean, it's resulted in Final Fours and championships. Do we slip this weekend? I don't think so. I think this team enjoys playing on the road too much, and I just don't know if Mississippi State has the power. Is it going to be a beatdown? Is it going to be 20-plus points? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a single-digit win. I think we might even trail for a lot in the first half. I think we're going to jump ahead in the second half, come out. I think the ball's going to tip, and I think we find ourselves down 12-4. I think we're going to play a really solid first half, but we're just going to not be there. The fans are going to be into it, and we're going to come out second half. Really, what South Carolina was, is South Carolina just didn't have the pieces. South Carolina just didn't have the weapons. I mean, they kept it within 11, which was good for them, but they couldn't get their main guy going. Drawing a blank on what his name was. I don't think we overlook anybody, because on the road, this team is very self-aware. I said this earlier. When we go into a place and that place is yelling, it's a white out, it's a black out, it's a green out, red out, whatever colors you are, and they got signs. Brad Calipari's in the stands, some signs. When they got signs, it's making fun of your mama, making fun of your social media platform, whatever you got. That drives this team. I would like to see what happens if we played a game in Madison, Wisconsin. It's not going to happen. The only way we could play them would be in the tournament, and it's not going to be at their home court, because that's where I think you see Hero go for 40. I think Hero's – we're going to see a Hero – this is partly the reason I don't think he's coming back, because I think we're going to see a Hero like no other when March rolls around. When we're on that Minneapolis where the Vikings play football stadium and the court's out there and they make all the fake fans and the whole half down here is vacant, that's where you're going to see Hero go nuts. Because that stage it's literally a stage. You're literally 5 feet off the ground, or 4 feet, whatever you are. That is when I think you're going to see the best Hero. I say all that to say I don't see Hero slipping up here. I don't see Keldon Johnson letting that happen at this point. Could happen. I'm not going to say it's impossible. Just don't see it. All right, looking through here. Trying to see what's going on let's look at some of these other numbers. I like going back. I like to see what we did. E.J. Montgomery, 5 for 7. And I know on one miss he got his own rebound. Cannot hate on that. P.J. Washington, 20 points, 5 rebounds. This is starting to come together. I just look at these. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to watch the entire game. I'm excited. And it's taken a lot for me to be that way. A lot of games in the past, they were good, they were ugly. 2015 was probably one of the last years that I said, oh, the game's back on? I'm watching it. I have to see this. 2012 was probably the one before it. I mean, 2014, they have clips of all the big shots Harrison made, but then you can only watch so many of them before you get sad and realize we couldn't capitalize on it. Realize that we played a very downtrodden UConn team, and if we could have just hit our freaking free throws, we could have 2 championships off that. Oh, UConn, how I hate you. Which, let me ask you a question. What is more important as you as a program? I'll get your statement there, Mike. Feel free to comment if you're watching. I should put a poll on here, but I don't know how, and I don't want to have to take time to learn it. If you were supporting a program, would you rather be a team that in a decade is like Kentucky? Let's just add a second national championship to it, or over 20 years. A couple national champions, several Final Fours, some great runs, some emotional runs. Man, they felt good. That 2014 was a great run. Ended horribly. Or, in my opinion, ended horribly. Or would you rather have it like what UConn does? UConn's been to 4 Final Fours. Won all 4 of them. UConn misses the tournament every other year. But when they get to the Final Four, they somehow get it done. Now, the next year, you're not going to hear about them, and they're going to be obsolete for 10 years. But when they get back, they're going to win a championship or two. I think was it 04, 99, 04, 14, and 11. Every other year, nothing. What made me think of it, too, is a lot of people brought this up about the dude at Villanova. Everybody said, look what Villanova dude's doing. Look what Villanova dude does when he's not winning championships. Second-round losses, and you can't find him come March typically. But when he gets a good class, he gets it done. Me personally, championships are important. Championships matter, yes. But especially the NCAA, the way they divide that up in weekends, each little level has its own success story. To me, when it comes in the NCAA tournament, there's a difference between losing that first weekend, that second weekend, and losing that third weekend. Now, once you get to the intricacies of the weekend, I don't think it matters. I mean, if you Sweet 16 and Elite Eight's the same thing to me. But making it to that second weekend, sorry guys, is important to me, especially depending on your team. If that 2013 team is horribly played, as horribly as we played, if we could have made it, Billy, I knew you were going to say that, and I don't like it, but hey, it's your opinion, and I asked for your opinion. So thank you for contributing. If you got a team that struggled and you're trying to build something. Now, I get it when we get to pro sports. I get it in the Super Bowl because typically when you build a team good enough to get to the Super Bowl, like the Rams, and now it's time to pay all those people, you're going to struggle, and you may never get there again. NCAA tournament, though, if I got a young team and we didn't really have a good season, but somehow we click come March, and I find myself in the Sweet 16, and I was a 10 seed coming in, or I get myself to the Elite Eight, that's good for next year. And then I build on that. So I think the NCAA tournament, college football and college basketball is two sports that lend itself to, it's not okay, but you can find solace in not winning the national championship. You know, Kentucky football, thrilled we got that 10th win. We didn't win the national championship. We wasn't anywhere close to it. But we found our own solace. We found we found our place. And I think that 68 teams in March Madness, only one can win the national championship. Only 4 is getting to that final weekend. I think a lot of teams can be happy to hang their hat on the Sweet 16 Elite Eight. Yeah, well, Mike, getting in foul trouble helped EJ earlier. I think that also allows our other guys to play more aggressive. It allows for them to take more chances. We've had this discussion 1,000 times about EJ or Reed Travis. He gets 2 or 3 early fouls, but he's smart enough. He's veteran enough. He gets it. He's able to control it and not let it consume him and foul out typically. So I think they're already smart. Him and PJ know how to play aggressive, get a good feel for the game, because that's a great ability. A great ability to say, how's this ref going to call this game? Does he have a soft whistle? Is he going to let me be aggressive? Or is he going to blow it every time I cough too loud? The ability to learn that the easier way and not the hard way where you got 3 fouls and there's no backup, the ability for Reed Travis to be a veteran and PJ Washington to be veterans enough to test that theory and then say, they're calling. That's where they're calling. I know where they're calling it now. I can hit them here, but I can't do this, whatever it may be. That allows them to judge it. And now that you can come off the bench with Reed Travis and EJ Montgomery, now you're eager to find that spot. Now you want to find that spot quick because, hey, if I get 2 fouls, it's fine. EJ going to come in and get going, and then I'm coming right back in, and I know what to expect. I know what I can get away with. I'm ready to make some noise now. I mean, we've seen, because I keep using Reed Travis, we've seen Reed Travis pick up a lot of offensive fouls, and I think that's him. What can I do? Can I dip this shoulder? Can I nudge this guy? Can I stick my leg out? Oh, nope, he's not going to let me do that. Let me reel that back in. Second half, he's got it down. That's why I think he comes up with some very timely buckets, because he spent the majority of the game testing the waters. And now in the final 5 minutes, a la Florida, he says, hey, what can I do? All right, who scares me in our bracket? Well, I don't know who's in our bracket. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of teams that could scare me. So I'm going to preface this by saying one thing. A lot of Kentucky fans, and I'm not separating us, I'm just saying a lot of us like to think the NCAA has it out for us. I don't think the NCAA hates us. The NCAA loves us. The ESPN loves us because we're money. Everything we do, look at us. I got 13 people watching me. You don't even know who I am. You're definitely going to turn into ESPN to watch your beloved Big Blue. The NCAA loves us. The only thing is they try to stack the deck into their favor. When they sit back and they say, what would Kentucky look good playing? Think of that 2012 team. Oh, it would look great if Kentucky could get that rematch versus IU. So guess what? Poof, they're in our bracket. You know what? 20 years ago, there was the Leitner pass. 20 years on the dot from 2012. What if we put Duke in that bracket? Didn't work out for them. Duke lost early. And then it just so happened to work. They got Louisville and Kansas both in our way, which was a great matchup for them. So I think what I fully expect for that bracket to be loaded. I expect, because there's no guarantee you get Kentucky-Duke national championship game. So you put Kentucky at the 2 seed, you put Duke at the 1 seed, and now it's that much closer to happening. Honestly, if Kentucky drops a couple of silly games and we're technically a 3 seed like Mike talked about earlier, wouldn't be surprised to see them throw us at the 4 seed. Just say, because we're going to get Duke, Kentucky that much sooner. But I think, let's just pretend for a second they give us the 1 seed. If we're not going to Louisville, Louisville's going to be that 4 seed. Don't be surprised if Indiana is not in our bracket. If they do enough to make the tournament, they may be an 8 or a 9 seed. The committee would love, and like I said, it's not out of hate. They love us. It's out of greed. It's out of that money. They want that fold and stuff, because that's only the way the NCAA can make money off college basketball. Is that, or college sport. I mean, I don't know how much I don't think they get much out of college football and that whole thing that they do. So I think they need to make it all in the month of March. That's why, on a side note, if you notice, everybody loves your Loyola Chicago and your UMBC when there's 70 teams. Not so excited when they're in the Final Four. Basketball fans want our cake and want to eat it both. They want UMBC to beat Virginia, but we want you to be gone by the time we get to the Final Four. I want my Final Four to be – some of the worst few Final Fours were Butler and VCU and Kentucky and UConn. And the only reason it's probably so high is because Kentucky was in it. If it had been Ohio State and UConn, probably been a snore fest. They got to make the money. So I wouldn't be surprised if a road to our Final Four doesn't look remotely like Indiana, Louisville, Kansas State. Don't that in there from Mike, but they know it's going to sell because they beat us last year. Why not put it this year? If you notice, 2010, we lost to West Virginia Elite 8. 2011, boom, right there in our bracket. Love it. And then, if you're really lucky, if you're the committee and you're really lucky, you're going to get Kentucky Duke in the Final Four. Actually, I wouldn't be more surprised if Kentucky's the 1 seed, Indiana's the 8 seed, Louisville's the 4 seed, North Carolina's the 2 seed. Make it happen. They want that gone. Not because they hate us. They want to make that money. That's why also, you really went over the can of worms? That's why, and I'm not defending them. I hope Louisville gets the death penalty. But that's why when it was Louisville, when it was a decent-sized school, you're not a blue blood yet, but you're a decent-sized school. When it comes time for us to make a name out of you, make I'm losing my words here, but when they're making a case out of you, man, they're coming down with that axe. But when all those other schools started getting named, North Carolina, Duke, there was some Kentucky rumors, Kansas, NCAA wants that gone. Because I guarantee you thought the Super Bowl was boring? You don't think people watch the Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star Game? Let me tell you what people aren't going to watch. An NCAA tournament with no Kentucky. An NCAA tournament with no Kentucky and Duke. An NCAA tournament with no Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, or Kansas. Ain't nobody watching that. Let me get to some of the chats here. Well, thank you for the guy who said this is wonderful. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, the tournament's going to be rough, but I think we're ready. I think we've played the national championship game. The national championship game happened in whatever month that was, November 9th. That was the national championship game. Sorry, I checked my phone. That was the national championship game, and we got busted. Bet you it don't happen again. Bet you it doesn't happen again. I mean, so, Mike, the NCAA could withstand one of us not making it. I mean, 2013, it happened. I mean, Kentucky wasn't in it. I don't know when the last time Kansas or Duke's missed it. It happened. I mean, the NCAA was alive for 50 years before Duke became relevant. They're just not going to make it happen where none of us are in there because nobody's going to watch that. When you're one seed, look, Virginia is like, okay, let me put it this way. We've all been to parties. We've all been to Super Bowl parties. Let's picture it's a Super Bowl party. Super Bowl was just a couple days ago. Super Bowl party. Somebody brings the veggie fries and the hummus. Yeah. Somebody brings veggie fries and hummus. You're okay with that. Like, hey, Virginia is the big dance. What veggie and hummus is to a Super Bowl party. It mixes it up. 30-point Sweet 16 game mixes it up. We can deal with that. What you don't want is to go to a vegan Super Bowl party where that's all there is. No chicken wings, no beer, no burgers, nothing. That's how the NCAA tournament is. They want a little Virginia. They want a little UMBC, a Murray State. They want that once. They want you to have options. They don't want this to be one and done central. They want you to be like, okay, I watched a great North Carolina, Georgia game. I watched a great Kentucky, West Virginia game. Let me just go over here and see this. They don't want that all 6 rounds. No, Kansas hadn't missed in 14 years. Well, Kentucky hadn't missed when they missed in 2013. I think they hadn't missed in 15 years or whatever it was. It was 91 to 2013. It happens. And Mike's happy about the loss to K-State. So I'm just saying the NCAA wants all this swept under the rug. The NCAA wants Kentucky to have the best matchup because you can say what you want. Duke can be number 1. North Carolina can be ranked number 1. It doesn't matter. What matters is because Kentucky, like Billy will tell you, well, I wish is Billy still in here? I hope Billy's still in here. Billy's a Duke fan, and he will basically tell you if I'm not winning it, it doesn't matter. Let me lose to Lehigh in the second week. Kentucky treats every round. We could be the 16th seed, and we could be playing the Golden State Warriors, the 1 seed, and Kentucky, all Kentucky eyes will be watching with the absurd thought that we are going to win and win by a lot. And we'll probably get ran out the building. The NCAA knows this. The NCAA wants us on, but they trust us to not choke it away. They don't want us to lose. They don't want us to play Ohio Central or Miami of Miami of Ohio. They don't want that. So I went on that whole side tangent there because it's coming. The bracket's going to drop, and it's going to have Kentucky, Indiana, Louisville, Duke, North Carolina, the Golden State Warriors, 85 Bears. It's going to have it all in there. And it's all going to come out, the committee hates us. And I just say, no, they don't. They love us. They love us so much because we make them so much money. So don't take it personal. It's just business. It ain't personal. Kind of seeing what's going on here. Appreciate everybody watching. Mike will tell you where you can watch Big Blue Breakdown. Hate that it goes blurry. It's like being drunk almost. Gotta keep my stuff straight. So do Big Blue Breakdown twice a week. I try to go live sometime on the same day after a game to do this. I enjoy talking because let's be honest. I love that you guys are watching. I love everyone that's tuned in. That is awesome. I'd be doing the same exact thing at the computer. If this webcam wasn't here, I'd be doing the same exact thing. Except to be pacing down in my living room. I do it every game. I would go in my head. Like I'm so thankful for the opportunity to do this. I'm so thankful for the groups that I'm in where I can talk. Because before I found you guys, I still did this. When the game was over, when it was halftime, I still said, okay, I'm giving point guard A this grade. I think he did this. If honestly, my thing is, I would love to start calling these, Matt Jones, KSR. I love it, Michael Bennett, just a tip, which is a great name. Just a great name, just a tip. Oh, I want to violate copyright rules and name any show I do that. Or I could do a show after and call the rest of it, but that's beside the point. I would do this no matter what. The only reason I don't call those shows is because, as you can see, I've been talking for an hour straight. and I figure Matt Jones will cut me off after about 2 minutes, especially if I say something ridiculous. So these conversations, I'd just be talking to my wife, or I'd be talking to the dog, or I'd be talking to myself, or I'd be writing it down on a piece of paper, or I'd be doing all this. So thank you all for tuning in. This just gives me an opportunity for somebody to join in the conversation with me. I'm still going to be spewing recklessness throughout. We got a big win today. 19-3, I think we are. The way I like to think of it is there's an odd number of regular season games, and it'll always be on Saturday when the weekends. 19-3. And if you told me I was going to be 19-3 right now, I would be okay with that. If you came to me in October and said, this team will be 19-3, I would have said, okay, we lost to Duke, we lost to Kansas, and we lost to Auburn. We didn't. I mean, we did lose to Duke. And I would take that. Because Seton Hall, that was just a blip. Alabama, that was just food poisoning. That's fine. Nothing wrong. Because we got the win in Auburn. I would rather be known as a team that's really good, they just take some plays off, than a team that's really good, they can't win. Sorry, indigestion. Had some pizza after the basketball game. We lost horribly. Got a pretty bad team. The rec league game I was in. But I would rather be known as a team that can get it done, that is really good up here. Just they fall asleep every once in a while. Like, like your kid. If you got kids, you'd rather someone tell you, hey, your kid's got potential. He's going to be a genius. He just gets kind of lazy sometimes. Or would you rather have a kid that says he's maxed out? That's the top of his peak. And that's what I don't want to hear about this team. This Kentucky team's my kid. I don't want to hear that, hey, that Kentucky team's good, but they can't beat Duke. They can't beat Auburn. They couldn't beat Kansas. They're not going to beat Tennessee. I don't want that narrative. I would rather lose. If we finish the season with 4 losses, and they were Duke at Seton Hall, at Alabama, and let's just say at Missouri, but we beat Tennessee twice, we beat Auburn twice, we beat Kansas, we beat everybody, I'm good with that. Because you know what? We're not going on the road come March. We're not going to Missouri come March. We're not going to Seton Hall come March. Once I know that we can beat the likes of Tennessee, North Carolina, Kansas, Auburn on the road, I've seen all I needed to see. And if you think about it, the NCAA tournament's already kind of happened for us. First round, pesky team, not really a good team, got a really good player. Sounds like UNC Greensboro to me. We got it done. Second round, pesky team where a player got hot and just hit everything. Sounds like Seton Hall. We didn't get it done, but I like our odds if it ever happens again. Louisville, Auburn on the road. Those sound like Sweet 16 teams to me. Got it done, no problem. North Carolina, Kansas. Sounds a lot like a good Final Four or Elite Eight team. Got it done. Not only we failed the first test with Duke, championship caliber team, but we get 2 more shots. I think we're going to get it done. I'm telling you guys, hop on this bandwagon. I'm not talking about from a bandwagon. I'm not accusing anybody of not being an actual Kentucky fan. I'm talking about get in the driver's seat of this bandwagon. Not just be on it, not just say go big blue, not just wear your shirt. Get behind this because this team's not going to be the same next year. I don't care if just PJ leaves or Keldon leaves. This is going to be a special team. I don't know if we're going to give it names anymore like we did in 66 and 96 and 98 and 70. I don't know if we're going to do that anymore. But this is going to be one of those teams that you're going to remember. When you're talking in 30 years, when you're talking the Kentucky greats, this just has one of those teams. This just reminds me of one of those teams that's going to have it's going to stay in the cockles of your heart. So that's it. We broke down the game. We're looking forward to Mississippi State. Let's be honest. I could do a whole bunch of research, and I could sit here and look like Jay Billis and say, well, Mississippi State has this at point guard, and if he runs to the right, he's really good. But it's Kentucky. Cal prepares you against the best player, the secondary players. Either they're hot or they're not. I mean, how many times have we played a team, and you're like, oh, I'm worried about player A, but it's player B and C that hurts you. So, yeah, I could sit here and we could break down Mississippi State. I could go through their roster. I could say this guy doesn't look like he matches up. I could say this guy, they don't play very good in defense. They're going to try to throw the 1-3-1 at us, but we're so good now, we're going to be able to shoot from the sides or get to the middle. Maybe they'll switch to a 3-2 or meet us at half court. I could come with you with all that. Doesn't matter because it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky versus the SEC. They want to beat us. Don't care who it is. Don't care what the record is. 0-22. Never lost. LeVar Ball. God, I hope he don't come to Lexington. But, nope. But it doesn't matter. So I'm telling you, it's going to be a hard-fought game, but we're going to find a way to win it. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Big Blue Breakdown will come out, I think it's Thursday, Mike. We'll be on iHeartRadio, a bunch of other stuff. Read the thing. He's good at it. And we don't have a sponsor. I wish we had a sponsor. Find something for us to sponsor. Find something silly. The most unique sponsor that anybody could find, I'd probably give you the sponsor money for like the first couple months. Just because I think it'd be fun. I want to be that guy that sponsors weird stuff. But I'm out. Thank you for tuning in to the Big Blue Breakdown. Next Tuesday, hopefully, my rec league team gets a win. Not looking good. Thanks for tuning in. We are out. I wonder if it ended now. Nope, still counting. Oh, well, ended.